All right, I am actually very excited to make this video for you guys today because I feel like I finally have some very positive news around what's coming in the real estate market over the next, we'll say 12 to 13 weeks, so 4 months-ish, in a year where the media around real estate has been not so positive, to say the least, okay? And just before we hop into the video, firstly, I apologize for the not so sexy background. I know I usually have like cool colors and stuff like that, but we are going through a rebrand, as you can see on my shirt, and you're gonna see in the slides. And so I am waiting for some items to come in to reset my studio setup with the new branding. So, and then before we hop into the content for today, if anybody wants to get in contact with me, there's going to be a link below in the description, which will go directly to my calendar if you want to book a call to discuss any of this stuff in your particular criteria. So that's down there just as a reference point for you. So let's hop into what I want to discuss with you guys today. So first things first, 2022 real estate has been really frustrating, to say the least, okay? Especially if you're a buyer. If you're a seller and you're downsizing or you're exiting the market, you're going to rent, whatever, it's been great for you, to be very honest. But for everybody else, including those of you that want to sell your existing properties and move somewhere else, it's been challenging because most sellers are also buyers, right? And so for buyers, it's been really, really difficult. And so I want to preface the data that I'm going to go through with you today on why I think the real estate market has been the way that it's been for the first 8 weeks of the year, and then where we're going. So we are on week 9. We're just, at the time of recording this video, getting close-ish to the end of week 9. And for the first 8 weeks of the year, especially for the first 4, we were under lockdown restrictions, right? And the reason why I think this particular most recent lockdown at the beginning of the year really set the real estate market kind of on fire is because if you think of the most previous lockdown, which was last summer, sellers could leave their homes, go to the park, have a beer with their friend in the park, whether or not that's right or wrong, that's for you to make a decision, but they could leave their house while people viewed or showed their property. And it's been pretty cold this winter, and I don't know anybody that wants to stand outside in minus 17 weather while 75 people line up to go and view one of the few homes that are on the market, right? And so that's put sellers in a really challenging position, and with our team specifically, we specialize, in particular, I specialize in helping millennial families upsize, or millennial couples upsize, especially from condos to their forever home, right? So essentially what our core value is, or what we do, is we help millennials go from their first home to their forever home. So I've got team members that help first-time buyers, and I specifically help with upsizers. But it's been really challenging for these people because they may want to leave, they have nowhere to go, right? So it's not that people don't want to sell their properties. They do. They just have no other properties to buy. And that's why this video is going to be so amazing, because we have a lot of inventory coming. And so I'm really looking forward to shedding some positive light here for you guys. But the best analogy that I can give you on how I feel the real estate market has been over the first kind of 8-9 weeks of 2022, I'll say 8 because I feel like I've really seen things start to level off in the last week and a half. But the best way that I can put it is, and I think we've all probably experienced this in the last 2 years, it's like having a bit of a panic attack, or having a lot of anxiety, right? And so there's been so much negative media and news and all that kind of stuff that whatever the reason is, I'm sure we can all probably agree that in the last 2 years, there has been one sleepless night or one anxiety-prone day. And what happens when you have those moments, I'll be honest with you guys, I've had several of them, right? And so what happens is your heart's pounding and you can't sleep and you're stressing and it's like the weight of the world is coming down on you and you're like, how am I going to change my situation? Oh my gosh, it's like all this like kind of like pent up energy inside of you, paired with negativity, right? And then you go, all right, how do I get myself out of this state? And oftentimes it's taking a couple deep breaths, trying to like lower that heart rate down a little bit and understanding that in this moment, I can't change my situation, right? My situation is still there, but I need to just take a couple deep breaths, chill out a little bit, and just move on, right? And, easier said than done, but I feel like it's a really good analogy for what real estate has been like for the first 8 weeks. It's like there's been all this, I have to get into the market or I have to sell my house because I have to get the highest price. It's like all this anxiety around real estate. And I love real estate. I wouldn't be in this industry if I didn't love it, but I would have to agree with probably most people that watch this video that the beginning of the year was an unsustainable and unhealthy market. Like, it has to level itself out. And so what I'm starting to see now is a little bit of buyer fatigue for sure, which is very much understood, and I'm very empathetic to that. People just saying like, I need to take my breath, right? Like people are taking their breath now. And that paired with this new rate announcement is what I think is, I'm having this anxiety attack and I'm really taking this breath to like cool myself down. Now, what's really important that we discuss is that, like I mentioned before, the situation doesn't necessarily change. So I don't want to say, oh, the market's going to crash because people are pulling back for the sellers that are thinking about going to market. I don't think that that's going to happen at all. I think that we should not be force-fed fear here. I think what's going to happen is instead of 15 or 20 offers on every property, we come down and maybe it's 3 to 5. And so there's still going to be competition. There's just probably not going to be as much. And so for the people that are thinking about upsizing, you want to get the most money for your home. I absolutely understand that. But it's also really important to understand that the buying and the overall experience is a really important aspect to how this whole situation works, right? And so, yes, the beginning of the year was great for sellers because we were hitting astronomically high prices and setting records and all of that kind of stuff. But you have to look at the flip side is if you want to sell your house and buy something else, then you got to put your buyer lens on and understand that this slight pullback, though it may affect you and you might feel like, oh, I'm losing something, you're really gaining a lot because you're not going to have as much stress or pressure. It's going to open your mental space up a little bit, I think, and just make real estate not so scary and so negative. It doesn't have to be that way. And I think these next 12 weeks, I don't think it's actually going to be that way for the next 12 weeks. So let's hop into a couple of slides here because I want to walk you guys through the data to support what I'm saying and kind of what my vision is for the next 12 weeks and what I think is going to play out. So one, inventory is coming, like I mentioned. So your selection of homes is going to become more abundant than what it's been at the beginning of the year. I think for a lot of people, they were like, I just have to take what I can get because I just need to buy something that fits in my budget. And that's not necessarily going to be the case. You're going to have more homes that are going to hit the market in the next couple of weeks, okay? But let's look at the two types of buyers that I typically deal with. So there's two buckets that I would say people typically fall within. Price-sensitive buyers and then what I would call home-sensitive buyers. I think this price-sensitive tag kind of speaks for itself. These are people who are just explicitly looking for a deal. The house comes second and the price comes first, right? And so historically, the winter and the summer months would be your most favorable markets to kind of trade within if you're a price-sensitive buyer, okay? And then the flip side are going to be those who are home-sensitive buyers. And so those would, for me specifically, would typically be maybe two individuals that own smaller condos and now they're couples and they're moving in together and they need to make sure that they have the right amount of space because they're both working from home, right? And so Yes, they would love to get a great price on the condo, but like their actual lifestyle and their living space is more important. Or, hey, we're living in a condo now and we either have a kid and we're having a second one, or we've got our first kid on the way. Like, we can't live this condo lifestyle. We love living downtown and all that kind of stuff, but it's not conducive for our growing family. And so, yeah, we would like to get a smoking deal on our family home, but the most important thing for us is that we get the actual house that we like. We don't want to overpay. Right? There's a difference between getting a smoking deal and then overpaying. So let's just put that out there. But the home sensitive buyers are like, I understand that the costs of transacting in real estate, like, great for me if you guys buy and sell all the time, but not really that great for you, to be very honest, because it's super costly to do it. So, let's find the right house. It might not be the cheapest house on the market right now, but we paid a fair price for it and we're really happy and we can stay here for a long time. And so historically, spring market and fall would be the best kind of markets for you to have the most home selection, right? And so why I think these next 12 weeks are really critical, and why I would actually urge you, I normally don't want to create too much urgency. Like, at the end of the day, you guys make your own choices, right? But I would really urge you, is if you're thinking about making a move, right, and you really value kind of hybrid of like probably not paying the highest price, but also having the most selection of homes, we don't always see those things kind of work hand in hand. And I believe that opportunity with this new rate announcement and with the existing buyer fatigue is probably something that will present itself to you over the next 12 weeks. Okay. And so I would urge you to take this into more serious consideration. If you're thinking about moving in 2022, like, have the conversation now. Like, actually talk about it though. So let's talk about why inventory should increase. So one, there's a couple reasons, like I said, why people are kind of like backing off from the market. They're either just exhausted because they've been bombarded with this kind of negative media and they're just kind of burnt out because they've been spinning their wheels, putting in offers, all that kind of stuff. Or two, they go, oh my gosh, interest rates just rose and I need to see what's going to happen. Is the market going to crash? And it's like, it rose by 0.25%, $50 to $100 for most average buyers, and a month, sorry. But the affordability did not change, and fixed rates didn't change. The only rates that were affected were variable rates, just so that you guys know that as well. That's for a whole nother video, and I just did one, so if you're interested in that kind of like boring economic stuff, check that out. But let's talk about like actual housing inventory. So I'm going to pop up two different slides. So on the top, we're going to have 2019, and on the bottom, we're going to have 2021. And what I've outlined in the circle there, and so every single tab on this chart is 1 week of the year, right? So week 1 to week 52. And what I've done is I've outlined there for you what happens historically on week 10 to week 23. And what you'll notice is I didn't put 2020 in there because we all know what happened in 2020. It was not a normal year. But 2019 and 2021, you can see that between week 10 and 11 and 23 and 24 are when the highest amount of homes hit the market, so the most selection. You're also going to see a little bit of a bump in the fall, which is where you kind of see that second little hump, but it usually only lasts 4 to 5 weeks, right? And so you've got 3 times the length of selection in these coming weeks. And then I'm going to pop up now the 2022 first 9 weeks of the year, and you'll see the 9th week we haven't finished yet, which is why it's kind of bumped down a little bit, but you can see that we're on an upward trajectory for more homes hitting the market. However, it's really important to understand, if we look at all 3 graphs, at the beginning of the year, we always have less inventory, and it always ramps up going into the spring market. So I do think, very honestly, that with the rate announcement, with how crazy the market was at the beginning of the year, and with the new inventory that's coming to market, it's kind of a good pair. It's a good pairing for anybody that wants to enter the market of more homes and potentially less competition. So I do ultimately think that this crazy month-over-month price growth, I think we're still going to see growth. I just don't think it's going to be on the same scale as what we've seen over the past couple months, because it is not sustainable. So I think we're heading into healthier market territories. But I don't necessarily think the prices are going to come down. I think it's just going to be like a more comfortable buying experience for people. So yeah, I hope this sheds some positive light or gives you a more positive outlook on the coming weeks. For anybody that is actually really interested in this, I would definitely recommend subscribing to our list because normally I won't do these super long-winded videos. I'll break them down into like micro kind of bite-sized chunks or emails to keep you more regularly updated as to kind of what's going on a week-by-week basis. So yeah, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for, if you're still here for kicking it for 15 minutes with me. I hope you guys found some value in this. If you've been in the market, I'm empathetic to your scenario and your situation, but I feel confident that better times are ahead for you in the coming weeks. I would very much appreciate a like and a subscribe. I literally just started putting some videos on this channel, so that would help me to make sure that these videos reach the right people and a broader scope of audience. So if you could give me a thumbs up, I'd really appreciate that. And yeah, again, thanks. Hope you guys have a great day, and look forward to seeing you in the next video.